In this video, I'll be breaking down how I created this animation using Adobe Illustrator, where I made this illustration, and Adobe After Effects, which helped me out with frame-by-frame animation. This animation is made out of 4 frames, where the first and the last frame are made in Adobe Illustrator, and the middle 2 are edited in After Effects. Something that really helped me out in this process is that I began by animating the last scene, and then going in a reverse direction, we came back to the first frame. This is because if I began from the first frame, I wouldn't know in which direction to go in order to create a smooth frame-by-frame animation that will fit with the last frame. Now that you understood how this animation works, we can start with a base illustration. Something that really helped me out is that I imported a stock image that I found on Envato elements, and then by importing and placing it on a locked layer, I could start tracing an image using the pen tool. I kept my workspace clean and tidy by creating a separate layer for each part of the car illustration, which I highly recommend if you later on want to make adjustments. I tried to not oversimplify this illustration, so I added little details like this side door dent or front hood vent. When I was finished with drawing lines, I used the direct selection tool to carve out some of the lines by first turning that line into an object, which you can do if you go to Object and Expand Appearance. When the illustration was finished, in order to paint this illustration, I used a live paint bucket tool. Now what you currently see is the first frame. So in order to create a last frame, I went and imported another picture with the same headlights. So I traced down that part of the image in order to recreate one for my illustration. This part wasn't very hard, but what took me a lot of energy was adjusting that headlight so it fits the other part of the car. I had to keep in mind the viewer's perspective, so I had to size it down and add a slight angle. And the last Illustrator part was to adjust layers so that when we import our illustration, we can have an easier animation process. When you open Adobe After Effects, you'll need to add a composition adjustments. So I set 6 frames per second, but in reality I only needed 4. First, I turned the Adobe Illustrator layers into shapes, and then by adjusting paths, it will reveal anchor points. Now you can adjust anchor points however you like. First, I animated the top part of the headlight, then the black part, and finally the light. Using the same technique, I animated the second headlight. I left out the gap of 1 second before I create a closing animation, which is just copying and reverse pasting previously created keyframes. I also add a tire animation, so it has something happening between the opening and closing headlights. By adding position keyframes and toggle hold keyframes, it turned out like this. As a final touch, I went to Envato elements and found a VHS tape video effect, which I applied in order to create that retro 80s vibe. Now you can do this and create your very own retro animation, and if you want to make that effect even more dominant, you can add visual effects and music to create that final animation. Hope you enjoyed this video, and till the next time, bye.